in zone 2, we are ready to make flying geese blocks. So flying geese are several places in our quilt. They're here in zone 2. They're also here in this zone down here, and over here, 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 and here. So the instructions for them are all in your book on page 70. And these instructions are for making one set. A set of flying geese are 4 geese blocks. So I'm going to work through, let's see, and how many do we need for zone 2? Zone 2, we need, we are making 4 sets of geese for 16 total. We are going to discard 2 and only use 14. So I would say let's always make all of them and then save them. You could do a fun little label because you will have some extras. You can make a fun label for the back of your quilt. But for now, let's just make one set. And the directions here, if you just follow this, you just go right down. There are 10 steps there. So our first set is, we will need 1 of our geese fabric. So this is geese fabric, and this is called background or sky. So you need 1 of these that are 4.5, and then you will need 4 of your sky or background, depending on how you think about it. And our first step we're doing is we're only working with our background, and we're drawing diagonal lines. So we're going to draw some diagonal lines. On all 4. And this will be the basic geese instructions for the whole quilt. You'll reference this, and it'll just be this one set. And then each time we have a new set of flying geese, we will talk about different layout options. So you could also just use your diagonal seam tape if you have that on your sewing machine. If you have a laser, sometimes drawing a line is it's a little more time consuming, but it might be, for our purposes today, it helps. Okay, so now we take our geese fabric, and that was on the wrong side. I drew those lines, and we're just going to put 2 of these on opposite corners. So we set it up like this, and then we are going to sew a 1/4 inch on each side of our line. Don't sew on the line. Sew a 1/4 inch off the line. Okay, here I have sewn. You can see my line in the middle, and then I have sewn on each side of it. Okay, now we're going to cut on our drawn line. Everybody has their favorite method for making flying geese. This is my favorite method. If you have a different method that you like, but you get the same finished size, you should do your method. Absolutely. Okay, so we get that, we cut them in half. Now we are going to press the sky pieces out here. And you can finger press, you can use your roller presser. You can actually iron it, press that out. And then our next step is that we're going to take another one of our sky pieces, put it right here, line up all those edges with your geese fabric right here, and you have a line drawn. So go ahead and sew a 1/4 inch on each side of that line. You can do it with both of these. Okay, I sewed. Now I am going to cut on the drawn line again. And now these press out. So go ahead and press all of those out, and then we'll talk about square up. All right, here are my 4 geese that I sewed. And now these are all oversized just a little bit. So we are going to square all of these to 2 by 3.5. So let me zoom in and just show you some marks on your Wonder Curve ruler, which are very helpful. So 3.5, 2 by 3.5. So here is my 2 by 3.5. It's this line here. And how convenient is it that this black dot is half, it's 1 3/4 from the edge here, which is half of 3.5. So I like to just line up that black dot right on the point of the geese. And then the other things I'm looking at are the 3.5 and 2-inch mark. Right here is on the seam. And then the 2 in the corner, 2 on the edge of the ruler is right on the seam. Or you could also use the black dot over here. So we're going to trim 2 sides. And then rotate. You're going to get really good at squaring up. Now look at, put trimmed edges on 3.5 and 2. Just like that, 3.5 and 2. So I'm looking at 3.5 and 2. Now trim whatever is left. Okay. If you don't have very much to trim off, let's say it's even a little bit like you don't even have enough, then take a look at your seams, and your seams might be a little bit wide. So when you're sewing those on 1/4 inch on each side of your drawn line, make sure that you're not sewing that too wide. Okay, and there you go. So you need to make 4 sets, and then we'll talk about layout. All right, so I thought it would be helpful if I show you how I draw my diagonal line. I was processing it. It doesn't really work to use your, oh no, it probably does use diagonal seam tape. Either way. All right, so I actually just lay them out, and then I just go through and use a straight edge and just kind of, whichever one seems to line up next is where I go. And everybody has a method, you know, you'll find one that works for you. And then I go here. So if that helps you, great. I'm just, you know, when we watch other people and see how they do things, sometimes it helps us find a way that works for us. Okay, here are the 14 flying geese blocks. They are all squared up to 2 by 3.5. Okay, so here's where you start to make Floral Felicity your own. There are many places where you have design choices. Wherever you have flying geese, you get to make design choices. You could totally sew them up how they are shown in the pattern, or you could flip a few of them and, you know, do it a little bit different. So whatever speaks to you. These will go on each side of your lotus flower, or you could put them together. Like, there are a lot of design choices here. So in zone 2 here, as long as it is this final dimension, you can do any arrangement you want. So we could put the flying geese next to each other, and you could actually make them all into, you know, something else. We think this arrangement is beautiful. But if you are looking for places to make Floral Felicity a little more original to your creative choices, Flying Geese is where you can do that. So choose your favorite layout, sew the geese together, and then press seams open. All right, I have my flying geese sewn together.